Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are acting as your personal guide through the absolute labyrinth of local government, courts, and public records. Because let's be honest, if you've ever tried to pull a seemingly simple legal document or run a background check, you already know it is rarely a straight line. It's more like a giant puzzle. So today, we're going to demystify that entire process using some real-world examples.
Right off the bat, let's kick things off with a really fundamental question about our justice system. Are public records actually public? Well, in theory, yes, absolutely. But the reality of actually getting your hands on those documents? That's a fascinating and sometimes incredibly frustrating maze of local rules, exact change requirements, and honestly, sometimes mandatory physical road trips. It's a highly intricate system, and really understanding how it ticks is the key to unlocking it. To get us through this maze, here is our map for today's explainer. We're breaking this down into 4 logical steps. First, we'll meet the record keepers. Then we'll unlock criminal background checks, search some court case files, and finally, navigate all those forms, fees, and timelines.
Okay, step 1. Let's meet the record keepers, the true gatekeepers of information. So whether you're digging around in Mecklenburg County down in North Carolina, or you're navigating the Oregon municipal court system, the clerk of court is the absolute backbone of the local justice system. I mean, they don't just hold on to papers. They are the central hub. They manage the case files, they issue the certified copies, process your legal filings, and yep, they collect the fees. They are literally the engine that keeps the courthouse running.
Now think about it. Courthouses have to handle the absolute chaos of human conflict every single day. To keep from totally falling apart, they categorize all that chaos into highly organized operational buckets. You've got civil courts for things like contract disputes, criminal for felonies and misdemeanors, family for custody issues, probate for wills, and of course traffic for speeding tickets. Knowing exactly which bucket your record lives in, that's your very first step to finding it without wasting days of your life.
Moving right along to Section 2, Unlocking Criminal Background Checks. Let's look at the reality here.
You know how on TV shows they just type a name into a computer and boom, full criminal history? Yeah, real life doesn't work like that at all. There is a massive flaw inherent in basic records searches. Take Dare County, North Carolina, for example. They explicitly warn people about what they call the John Smith problem. Their system is strictly name-based, no fingerprints. So if you're looking up a John Smith, you are literally going to pull up every single John Smith charged in that county. You could easily end up with completely the wrong person's criminal history unless you meticulously cross-reference things like birth dates and old addresses.
So, to overcome those kinds of hurdles and make 100% sure you have the right person, you have to follow some incredibly strict local procedures. Look at Guilford County. You can't just click a button on a website, no way. You have to physically visit room U10 at the courthouse, hand over a valid picture ID along with specific identifying details, and pay a $25 fee right there in person. It is a very deliberate, very physical process.
All right, on to Section 3, Searching Court Case Files, or as I like to call it, hunting down the truth.
When it comes to hunting down these files, it's honestly a tale of 2 completely different systems. On one hand, you have jurisdictions like Mecklenburg County that are totally modernized. They offer instant digital access through online portals, so you can just search recent records from your couch. But on the other hand, a lot of places still require major physical effort. In Washington County, Oregon, for instance, if you want older, non-digitized files or audio copies, you literally have to travel to their public records review room in Hillsborough and manually request them. The digital age is great, but it definitely hasn't reached every single archive room just yet.
And here is another huge myth we need to bust, the idea of an all-knowing unified national database. It doesn't exist for the general public. In reality, a local records search is strictly confined to local borders. Dare County actually puts it perfectly in their own disclaimer. Their search only pulls charges filed right there in Dare County. It is not going to pick up out-of-county, out-of-state, or federal charges, period. If the crime didn't happen in their backyard, the local clerk's computer has absolutely zero clue about it. Finally, we reach Section 4, Forms, Fees, and Timelines. These are basically the tolls you have to pay to get your information.
So as we've established, public information is public. But it is certainly not always free, and there's a vast difference in the cost depending on what you want. For example, grabbing a certified birth certificate in North Carolina is relatively cheap, just $10. But if you want police video, that's a whole different ballgame. In Forest Grove, Oregon, simply getting the first 10 minutes of body camera footage will set you back $112.50.
It's not just about money, though. It's also about time.
the bureaucracy itself is forced to follow some pretty strict timelines. Sticking with Forest Grove for a second, the public body there has a legal baseline of exactly 15 business days to either process your records request or send you a formal written notice of a delay. So, the system demands a lot of patience from you, but it's also running on a heavily regulated clock behind the scenes.
Now, just to add a bit of oddly specific humor to our bureaucratic survival guide today, if you happen to get a boot put on your car in Forest Grove and you, let's say, let your temper get the best of you and you damage that immobilizer, well, it will cost you exactly $144.25 in administrative fees. And yes, to be clear, that is strictly in addition to what you have to pay to actually repair the broken boot. I'm telling you, they have a line item fee for literally everything.
But here's the real kicker. You don't want to do all this research, drive down there, get to the very front of the line, and then get turned away because you brought the wrong type of wallet. You always have to check the local payment rules. Mecklenburg County is super modernized and highly flexible. They'll take electronic payments, cards, checks, cash, you name it. But Guilford County? They will flat out reject your debit card, your credit card, and your personal check. If you don't have cash or a money order in hand, you're just not getting your records that day.
Okay, so let's wrap up this explainer by leaving you with a final thought to ponder. We know information is technically public, right? But is access truly equal? When you start to consider the friction of high administrative fees, exact change requirements, and the fact that you frequently need to physically travel to an office during strict business hours, does all that create an unequal barrier to true transparency? It's a pretty fascinating reality to keep in mind the next time you find yourself navigating the public records system. Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep exploring.